Welcome everyone to the Northern Virginia Code Camp. So the title of this talk is Building Intelligent Enterprise-Grade Helpless Bots Using Conversational AI. So who am I? My name is Prashant G. Bhoyer. I was born and raised in India. Came to United States in 2007 for studies. I'm University of Maryland College Park alumni. I co-authored a book, PowerShell for Office 65. I also acted as a technical reviewer for the book Pro SharePoint 2013 Administration. I am from Washington DC area, and pre-COVID-19 pandemic, we used to organize a lot of in-person conferences in and around Microsoft Reston office. And most of the conferences we used to be focused on AI, machine learning, SQL, big data, and Microsoft 65 and Power Platform. Ever since the pandemic has started, we have converted all our conferences to virtual only. So if you are interested joining us, you can definitely check us out on meetup.com. And we also have a site azurecloudevents.com, where we periodically post the information about upcoming events, the call for speakers, and registration. I am recipient of Antarctic Service Medal, and I'm also a recipient of Microsoft MVP Award since 2017. Those of you who are not familiar with Microsoft MVP Award, so I don't work for Microsoft. It's just the additional recognition that Microsoft gives out to the folks who does technical contributions. And these technical contributions can be in the form of speaking at conferences, writing blog posts, creating open source project, contributing in those, creating training videos and posting them on streaming platform, providing direct feedback to the Microsoft product group, or answering people's questions on various public forums. And this award is typically valid for only 12 months. And after 12 months, you have to submit for renewal. And if your contributions are good enough in previous 12 months, then Microsoft will again reward you for additional 1 year. So it is for initial 2 years, I was an MVP in Office 65 apps and services, especially in SharePoint. And since 2019, I changed my category to AI. And right now I work as cloud solution architect at AIS, where I focus on intelligent business process automation, where we use variety of the products and services in Microsoft ecosystem, such as Azure AI, bots, Microsoft 65, Power Platform, Teams, SharePoint, etc. And I worked at AIS Reston, Virginia headquarters. And this is the information about our company. So we are providing services in Microsoft ecosystem from more than 40 years, and we have been a recipient of Partner of the Year on multiple occasions. And AIS is growing. We have a lot of openings. It doesn't matter what your role is. We have openings for testers, for business analysts, for project managers, engagement managers, DevOps engineers, developers, architects, and the openings are in US, Canada, UK, and India. So if you or anyone in your network is looking for a change, definitely either connect with me or go on ais.com site and check out the openings. So the agenda for this talk is we will start with why bots, like why we had to invest time learning about bots. What is Microsoft Bot Framework? What are Power Virtual Agents? What is Dataverse for Teams? Azure Bot Service, how to get started if you are interested in creating the bots. What are Microsoft Cognitive Services? We will have demos, key takeaways, and Q&A. I prefer interactive session. So if you have any question, just go to Microsoft Teams here and use this feature of a raise hand. And via this, then we will know that you have a question and we will unmute you and then you can ask your questions. So before we jump into AI, let me see how I can get rid of this one. Okay, all right, perfect. So before we talk about the bots, let's talk about what is AI, because if you don't add AI services in your bot will not be intelligent and it will not be really useful. So when it comes to AI, the first time whenever you hear about AI, the first thought most of the people's mind come is the machines, powerful machines taking over, they are destroying other planets, invading other planets. So when it comes to AI, this is the definition of AI I got from Google's AI researcher Francois Chollet. It's an effort to automate intellectual tasks normally performed by humans. And AI is not new to humanity. We are using AI since World War II. But because of all the advancements that are happening in computation, you'll see a lot of hype around AI in last 5 to 6 years. So if I had to categorize AI, I can categorize AI into 3 categories. One is strong AI, where machines are so powerful, they can invade other planets, they can destroy other planets. Right now, the strong AI only exists in science fiction movies and novels. Now, then there is second category, artificial general intelligence, where machines are so powerful they can perform really complicated tasks. And the example I can give you here is if you have seen Marvel Comics franchise Iron Man, there is a main character there called Tony Stark. And Tony Stark has his personal assistant called Jarvis. Now, Jarvis is an example of AGI. Again, AGI right now only exists in sci-fi movies and novels. Where we are is we are at weak AI, where we have specialized services for specialized tasks. One of the service you're seeing right now is an out-of-the-box service I'm using with Microsoft PowerPoint, where I'm speaking in English and it's doing real-time speech to text. And while doing it speech to text, I can also change the language. For example, if I go here in my Power, let me exit from here. And if I go here and if I go to my subtitle settings and let me select French here. And if the internet connection is working right and if the service is working right, then whatever I'm speaking will automatically get translated into French. So we are here right now. So when it comes to implementing AI services in your bot, just keep in mind what are some of the things we can do and what are some of the things we cannot do. Now let me go back and change the subtitles to English now. All right. We'll talk about this. So this is the mission statement from Microsoft where they want to make AI and data science accessible to everyone. And it doesn't matter what your role is, where you are located, and what kind of device you're using. And some of the services that you're seeing from Microsoft in last 2-3 years quite align really well with this mission statement. So if you are interested starting your journey in AI in Microsoft ecosystem, the bulk of the services or the core of the services are part of Azure AI. Now, if you are familiar with Microsoft Power Platform, or if you are familiar with Microsoft 365 or Xbox, then they also use some AI services. However, the core services are part of Azure AI, and all these different products then uses this Azure AI services behind the scene to launch their own AI specific features, such as AI Builder, SharePoint Syntax, etc. So under Azure AI, we have for AI apps and agents, we have Azure Bot Service and Azure Cognitive Service. Under knowledge mining, we have Azure Cognitive Search. Under machine learning, we have Azure Databricks, Azure Machine Learning, and Azure AI Infrastructure. And if you are interested to get started your AI journey in Microsoft ecosystem, I highly recommend you to check out these links about cognitive services, bot service. There is a really good link available from Microsoft called AI School, where there are a lot of free tutorials available if you really want to get into data science and machine learning. Now, if you're like me, like when I started getting into Microsoft AI stack, I had a lot of questions. Okay, there are a lot of offerings in Microsoft ecosystem under AI and machine learning. Which of the tool or product I should learn first? So you can, this particular flowchart can help you in deciding that. So depending on what you would like to do, if you are a data scientist and if you would like to get your hands dirty in machine learning, then Azure Machine Learning and then corresponding products are for you. If you're like me, who's more interested consuming the AI as a service or pre-trained services and bots, then cognitive services and bots are for you. To use cognitive services and to create the bots, you don't need to understand machine learning. Cognitive services offers us a lot of pre-trained services that we can just start consuming, utilizing, and make our bot intelligent. So let's talk about why a bot. If you are listening to the keynotes recently from Microsoft, especially Microsoft's CEO Satya Nadella gives quite a big emphasis on that bots are the new apps. So there are a lot of benefits of implementing bots in the enterprises. It provides you more natural human-computer interaction. It helps you to automate repetitive tasks and free up the resources. Bots are available all the time. And depending on what technology you use to create the bots, if you go with Microsoft bot framework or Microsoft ecosystem, then the same bot you can deploy to various products and services. That means that bot can be available wherever you are. And also bot can adapt bot can adapt to the user depending on the circumstances. And one of the key advantages is if you use bots in the context of enterprise help desk, then it will help you to free up your resources. Because if you ask any help desk manager or help desk division, they will say that typically 50 to 70% of the tickets are very, very simple tickets that they get. However, they have to spend time on it, and that takes away the focus from the more complicated tickets, which are 30 to 20 to 30%. So where the enterprise grade bots can help you is you can have your bots as a first line of defense, where if the issue is simple, the bots will be able to take care of it. If the issue is complicated, then your help desk personnel will get involved. With that, you will have a really good turnaround when it comes to tickets, and your help desk personnel will not be spending too much time in solving the trivial tickets. Bots are also appealing, efficient, and easy and natural. And if its implementation is done right, it simplifies the UI. And if you go with Microsoft ecosystem in implementing the bots, then it supports multiple channels. Now, the channel in the context of bots are different than the channel in the context of Microsoft Teams. So channels in the context of Microsoft bots means we can develop the bot and we can deploy that bot to, let's say, different devices and different services that can be within Microsoft ecosystem or outside of Microsoft ecosystem. For example, I can create a bot and I can deploy that to Facebook, to Slack, to Twilio, to the direct line, in Microsoft Teams as an email as well. And also bot may help you to connect with the young users. So we are already familiar with bots in our personal life. If you are a customer of a major financial institution like Citibank or Bank of America, then most of the time, if you call their help desk number, then their first line of defense is always most likely is going to be a voice-based bot. And then bot asks a question, and depending on your answer, then it may give you the specific information that you're looking for. It may redirect you to the actual human agent. Now, same kind of things are happening now in enterprise as well. Ever since the COVID-19 pandemic has started, a lot of enterprises started using bots in their help desk scenario, because guess what? Since everyone is working, even the help desk professionals are also working from home. And also they have a little bit different schedule now. And it's really difficult to provide support, let's say on a fixed schedule. And also the people's working hours have changed as well. For example, sometimes I have a son, and sometimes if he's at home and not going to his school, then I have to look after him. That means my work hour tends to shift. I may work late in the night or early in the morning. And it's really difficult for enterprises to have the help desk running at that time. And that's where bots can help you, where out of office hours, your bots will be the first line of defense, and they can track a lot of easy and trivial tickets. And if the issue is really complicated, then your actual help desk person can get involved. So if you are serious about, or if you're looking to implement bots in using Microsoft Stack, then there are two options available to you. Under Platform as a Service, we have a Microsoft Bot Framework, which is an open source SDK and tools, and its purpose is for custom bot development. It's ideal for developers, and right now 4 major languages are supported: C#, Node.js, Java, and Python. However, if you are looking to host your bot using Azure Bot Service, then right now only C# and Node.js is supported. What does that mean is, if you use Java or Python as your language, then you have to host that bot yourself somewhere else. And this is the link you can go and find more information about bot framework. Now there is another offering from Microsoft called Power Virtual Agent, and it is available as part of Software as a Service offering. It provides you a no-code experience for bot development, and it's really good or ideal for business users and domain experts to easily build a bot. Like if you know how this tool, then you can create a really good enterprise-grade bot within the span of 1 to 3 hours, as long as you know how to use this tool. Behind the scene, it is using Microsoft Bot Framework. However, you don't have to, as a creator of the bots, you don't have to worry about the bot framework or any of the underlying AI services. Everything has been done for you automatically behind the scene. And you can go to this link to find more information about Power Virtual Agent. There is another tool which comes really handy when it comes to creating bots. It's called Microsoft Bot Framework Composer. It's an open source visual authoring canvas we can use to build bots and later on deploy that. You can find more information about Bot Framework Composer by going to this particular link. There is another offering from Microsoft called Microsoft Dataverse for Teams, and you may be wondering why I'm talking about this in the context of bots, right? Because there is a reason for it. So Microsoft Dataverse for Teams is a low-code data platform for Microsoft Teams. It supports to build low-code, no-code apps, flows, and most importantly, the chatbots that will work within the teams. And it's inclusive in most of the existing team licenses. What does that mean is, if you have a valid Microsoft Teams license and you can use Microsoft Dataverse for Teams, you can create chatbots using Power Virtual Agents for free. That's a big advantage, especially if you are new to Power Virtual Agent. or you have a mix of teams, some of our developers, some are power users. Then you can do a really mix and match where power users will use Power Virtual Agent to quickly create the bots. And Power Virtual Agent is a license offering. So if you really want to see how exactly it works and whether it's really right for your organization or not, you can definitely take advantage of Microsoft Dataverse for Teams and see, start using it and see if you really like it or not. And then you can later on upgrade that to the full-blown version of Power Virtual Agent. You can go to this particular link and find more information about the Power Virtual Agents here. So when it comes to the bot, so this is the pyramid we can visualize where the underlying services or the core services are Microsoft Bot Framework and Azure Bot Service. And the Power Virtual Agents are built on top of it. And there is a really good integration story available where if I create a no-code chatbot using Power Virtual Agent, and I have another chatbot that I created using Microsoft Bot Framework, then I can have integration between those two. That means one chatbot can call another chatbot by a usage of bot framework skills. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Power Virtual Agent. Most of the time we'll be spending on bot framework. So, but I just want to give you a highlight here. So Microsoft Power Platform is a low-code platform that spans Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, Azure, and standalone application. And Power Virtual Agent is one of the product that recently got added into the Microsoft Power Platform. It helps us to create intelligent chatbots without writing a single line of code. And it's built on the top of Microsoft Bot Framework, and it is hosted in Azure Bot Service. And it is connected really well with other Microsoft Power Platform products, for example, Power Automate, which is similar to or similar to Logic Apps, where there is a concept of connectors, there's a concept of action. So if you are creating a chatbot without writing code using Power Virtual Agent, from that chatbot, you can directly call a Power Automate. And that using that Power Automate, then you can call your own custom APIs, or you can connect with any other services, just like we do with Logic Apps. And behind the scene, it's using the bot framework, and also it uses all the cognitive services that are there in Microsoft Stack. However, you as a developer doesn't have to worry about it at all. All you have to do is go to the Power Virtual Agent UI, a designer, and start creating your bot. And this is how the designer will look like. You can just do a drag and drop and start creating your experience. And in the designer itself, you can start testing your bot. I highly recommend you to check this tool out, especially if you're not a dev or if you have a mixture of teams, some of your pro devs and some of your citizen devs, then this is a really good tool for citizen devs to create the bots. And you can find these links and go there to check more information about that. When it comes to Dataverse for Teams, I can create that same chatbot using Power Virtual Agent in the Teams client itself. As you can see, this is a Teams client, and in this Team client, I'm creating a bot and I'm also testing it. Only one caveat: if you go with Microsoft Dataverse for Teams, the bot you create will only available in Microsoft Teams. That means I cannot use the same bot in other supported devices or channels. All right, now let's talk about Microsoft Bot Framework. So Microsoft Bot Framework is an open source SDK and tools. And using the bot framework, what we'll be doing is we'll be building our bot web service. And then your bot web service then can integrate with your other APIs, databases, other SaaS applications. And what you will be doing is your bot web service will be constantly exchanging messages with the devices or channels where you have exposed the bot. And if you really want to have a meaningful bot, you need to add some AI integration with some AI services. Now, of course, Microsoft AI services are recommended, like commodity services, but you can use your own AI services as well, or you can also use AI services from Google or from AWS or from IBM or any other vendor. So you're not limited to just, let's say, using Microsoft commodity services. And once your bot is ready, then you can deploy that to various channels or devices. And one of the good things with going with Microsoft Bot Framework is when you have to deploy that bot to, let's say, another channels, most of times you just have to do some configuration changes, but you don't have to do a lot of code changes in your bot. So that's a really good thing about using Microsoft Bot Framework. And these are the supported channels, and the list keeps on growing. So I highly recommend you, if you are interested using Microsoft Bot Framework, just check the Microsoft documentation on supported channels, because chances are if I check the same link tomorrow, or sorry, after 1 month, there may be one or two more channels get added. So if I go with Microsoft Bot Framework, where can I host that bots, right? Because that's an interesting question for us. So of course, the Azure Bot Service is recommended because there you'll get a lot of integrations are readily available for you. However, if you are not a Microsoft shop, or if you don't have access to Azure, or you are AWS shop or Google Cloud or any other cloud, or for some proprietary reasons or restrictions, you cannot have your bot in public cloud, you can host your bot in VMs as well. Of course, you have to do some configuration part behind the scene. However, you can host the bots in Azure Bot Service and also in your own VMs, because I have seen a lot of confusion with people. So a lot of people think is if I go with Microsoft Bot Framework, then I have to use Azure to host the bots. No, that's not the case. You can use your own VMs as well. And this is the typical life cycle you will follow when you're creating a bot. So the majority of the time you'll be spending while designing the experience for your bot, like what kind of dialogues you'll be designing, what kind of design cards you will be having, and then while creating the bots, you can use Bot Builder SDK to add intelligence to your bot. You can add cognitive services. There are a lot of templates available that you can use out of the box, and then to test the bots, there is a really good tool available, which is open source and cross-platform called Emulator that you can use, where you can test the bot locally on your machine. And just to see how it's doing, you can attach the debugger and all of this stuff. To add the telemetry to your bot, you can use application insights. Again, application insights are optional. You can use your own telemetry service as well. But the important thing is make sure you add a telemetry service, because it's really important for you to gauge how your bot is doing, how it's conversating with your users, and whether users are satisfied with the answers or not. Then when it comes to publishing, you can publish that to Azure Bot Service, or you can publish it to your own web host as well. Then you connect that to various channels. And then finally, the stage where you'll be spending majority of the time is the evaluate stage, where once your bot is live, you'll be constantly evaluating how your bot is interacting with the users, whether users are satisfied with the answers or not, or there are like a lot of drop sessions. And then you can, depending on that insights, then you will make the changes and the cycle will continue. So when it comes to creating bots, these are my personal thoughts. Again, there are multiple ways to create the bots. So these are my personal thoughts, and this is what I typically use. Is if I'm going to host my custom bot in Azure Bot Service, then I start with Azure Portal, register my bot there first, and deploy the bot, and then download the source code from Azure Portal, and then start adding the customizations in it. If you're not going to host the bot in Azure Bot Service, then you can start locally on your machine and implement customization and then deploy it to your VMs. So for today's demos, I will be using the first option that is available at the top, where I will be starting with Azure Bot Service, or in Azure Portal, deploy my bot there first, and then download the source code and then start adding the customizations. Now, one caveat I mentioned, if you are going to host your bot using Azure Bot Service, then only supported languages right now are Node.js and C#. That means if you are a Java shop or a Python shop, then you have to go with this option, where you have to host your bot locally, host your bot in some other VMs and not in Azure Bot Service. So when it comes to adding intelligence to your bot, so if you don't add intelligence to your bot, then your bot will not be that useful. Without using AI services, what you're looking for is countless scenarios using if and else statement, which is very cumbersome to implement and it's really impossible. But what you can do is you can integrate your bot with something called cognitive services to add intelligence to your bot. And what are cognitive services? Cognitive services are pre-trained services available to us via Microsoft. All you have to do is create that service in Azure Portal, get your subscription key, and you can start using that service in any language and platform of your choice. That means I can use that with C#, Node.js, Java, Python, Go language. It can be in Linux, iOS, Windows ecosystem, doesn't matter. And the pre-trained services or machine learning model that cognitive services uses behind the scene are the product of Microsoft Research Group. And there is a lot of documentation available online. You can also see some code samples available on GitHub. And also, there is a really good community support available on Stack Overflow, where you ask questions and Microsoft is paying people to provide the answer for you. So when it comes to using conversational AI tools in Microsoft ecosystem, these are the various services that we can use for the implementation of bots: language understanding, intelligent service, Azure Search, Q&A Maker, custom speech service, translator, speaker recognition AI, and Bing Search API. So I'll be going to the demo part of the talk now. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, you can use that raise your hand option in the Teams, and then Stan will unmute you, and then you can ask the questions. Okay, so let me open the browser. So then let me adjust this size so that we can see the subtitles as well. All right, so use your favorite browser, use your favorite search engine, and just search for Microsoft Q&A Maker. And if you are using two screen, you can follow these steps along with me. And the link we are looking for is qnamaker.ai. So this Q&A Maker is part of Microsoft Cognitive Services. So let me quickly give you a quick tour of Microsoft Cognitive Services. Microsoft Cognitive Services. And the page that we're looking for is this one, Cognitive Services API for AI Solutions. So if you scroll down in the middle section, you will see the list of all the AI services that are available as part of Cognitive Services. Under decision, we have anomaly detector, content moderator, personalizer. Under language, we have language understanding, Q&A maker, text analytics, translator. Under speech, we have speech to text, text to speech, speech translation, speaker recognition. Under vision, we have computer vision, custom vision, and face API. So if I under language, if I go to Q&A maker, then this is the documentation. Will see about Q&A Maker, what exactly the Q&A Maker service is for, how to use it, and there are a lot of samples available, which are some of the companies which are using it right now, like IRS is using it, ISO is using it, CSA is using it, and then you will see some information about that, how to use it, pricing and other stuff, and some sample code as well. So we are at Q&A Maker AI here right now. Let's me click on sign in at the top right corner here. And once you sign in, the first thing you'll be doing is, so the way Q&A Maker service works is, if you have any pre-existing database of frequently asked questions, you can use that and quickly create a knowledge base. And then you can use that knowledge base in your bot so that the bot can ask your FAQs. And this way you can outsource a lot of FAQs to the bot. And since we are going through the COVID-19 pandemic, what I will do is I will quickly create a knowledge base related to the COVID-19 information. Okay, so let me quickly click on create a knowledge base here. And then I have two options, what kind of Q&A Maker service I would like to use, which is going to be hosted in Azure, stable or preview. I will go with the stable service. So let's go ahead and click create. And let's use the appropriate the subscription here, then the resource group. And then let's call it as the name. Let's call it as Nova Code Camp 2021. And let's call it as QA service and the pricing. So there is a free tier available as well. So if you're doing this demo for trying this out service for the first time, I will recommend you go with the free tier. However, there is a one caveat: you can use free tier only once per subscription. So if someone already has used this in your subscription, you cannot use that. Then regarding Azure Search, I will be again going with the free service. Then this is regarding the location. So the website location, it's going to be in the location which is closer to you. So in our case, it's going to be East US. And if I enable the app insight, it's also going to be in East US as well. Then let's click on review and create, and click create. So generally, this takes like 1 or 2 minutes for this service to get created. It's typically is very fast. And while we're creating this service, let me know if you have any questions or any comments. Again, you can use that feature, raise your hand in the Teams. Okay, the deployment is process. It is progressing. So far, it has created the server farm, search service. Everything is done. And It will be done maybe next 30 to 60 seconds, and then we'll go back to the Q&A maker portal here. All right, search is also there. All right, it is created. So let me go back to the Q&A maker page here, click refresh. And now I have to select the appropriate ID for my Azure subscription. In case you don't know what your ID is, just go to the portal.azure.com and just go to Azure Active Directory. And here you'll be getting the name of your directory. So in this case, it's my handle PGBoyer directory. So let's go back here and select that. Because if your account is added to multiple Azure subscription, you'll be getting a multiple directory here. Then the subscription name. So I'll be using the subscription where I just created the Q&A maker service, which is this one. Then this is the name of the service. And then I had to select the language. So when it comes to selecting the languages, when it comes to the chit chat, and I will explain you what chit chat is. This 8 or 9 languages are supported. When it comes to extraction only, there are lots of languages are supported here. So I'll be going with English in this case. And then let's create the knowledge base. So since we are going to the COVID-19 pandemic, what I'll be doing is I'll be creating knowledge base regarding COVID-19 from a CDC website. Okay, so this is a page we are using from cdc.gov on COVID-19 FAQs. So let me go back here and let's call it as CodeCamp 2021 COVID-19 FAQs. Then provide the URL. And when it comes to you providing the URL, you can provide the URL from of your like publicly available site, or you can also provide URL of your SharePoint site as well. And when you do the SharePoint site, if that site is accessible from outside, you just have to provide your credentials to authenticate. And if you don't have that, you can also upload files from your local machine, and that files can be in the form of PDF or document or Excel file as well, or text file. And then chit chat. So when it comes to using the persona, you can go with none, professional, friendly, witty, caring, and enthusiastic. And depending on that, Microsoft will add some predefined questions and then predefined answers for those. So I will be going with witty this case. However, if you're doing this demo for your company or for your executives, go ahead, make sure you go with professional or something else, but not with witty. Then let's click on create your knowledge base. And depending on how much information are there in this page, this service may take anywhere between 1 to 5 minutes to create the knowledge base. So I'll just click create, and if everything is right, then the knowledge base will get created within the span of 1 or 2 minutes, and then we can start using it. So while this is going on, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and ask it. Okay, I see there is a question from Jeff. Stan, can you unmute him? Hi, Jeff.
Hi. So you can add in multiple URLs as sources for your Q&A?
Yes, we can do that. Like you can combine multiple URLs. You can combine multiple sources.
And do they have to be similar, or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. It can be different. As long as the information is available in this format, question answer format, this service will able to extract that for us. For example, here now, it has extracted all the questions from that CDC website. And we can go here and we can start updating it. We can also change the question. We can also change the answer. While changing the answer, we can provide some information as part of the images, some external links, and we can modify this. And we can also add our own question answer pair as well. For example, when COVID-19 pandemic is going to be over. And the answer, we don't know.
Okay. So my last question, I guess, would be like, Say you want to use the question answer portion of a product review at Amazon. Would that be a viable source?
Yes. Now, only thing you have to do for this one is if that information is publicly available, you can do that. If not, you can just extract that information in CSV file or Excel file or Word or text document, and then you can come here and then do that. So let's say if you're giving the URL of a page and that page has a lot of other garbage as well, because typically Amazon adds some other stuff, right? Pricing information, everything else. That may also unnecessarily create some additional entries here. So I will recommend if you're looking for that specific use case where you have a retail site and on that retail site's page, there are like FAQs and also some other information, then try to extract FAQs in a CSV file or text file or Word document, and then just upload that into this service. And then this service will not have some additional garbage information that you don't need.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? Okay, if not, then once we create that, the next thing we have to do is click on this at the top, save and train. And this training operation typically takes like 30 to 60 seconds. And once that is done, we can start testing this FAQs right in the same portal, Q&A Maker portal, by clicking on this test icon here. So if I click here and just start like ask, what is COVID? If there is a question related to that, then the answer will come. Now, when it comes to asking the questions, I don't have to do exact match. Like I can do some like, can you tell me about is COVID-19? And if the service is working fine, it will give me the answer. Let's call it start over, remove everything. And let's say I'm just gonna misspell a few things. What COVID-19 is, and this time I'm gonna misspell COVID here, something like COVID, and see if it comes back. So it has this AI services built behind the scene. So that means even if I miscode something or if I don't use the exact word-to-word matching, it's still able to comprehend that what maybe I'm asking, and it will give you the answer. Now, if you like what you saw, the next thing you have to do is go to the publish here and click publish, and this will publish your knowledge base, and it is ready to be used by multiple ways. And I will quickly show you what are those multiple ways are. Okay, so this knowledge base is published now. Now you have two options. You can either create a bot from this knowledge base, or if you're a developer, you can start using this knowledge base as part of the REST API. So here the sample is available for the Postman. If I click on the curl tab, the sample is available, how I can make this call with the curl. So if you can see, if you're familiar with how the APIs work, then this is going to be your URL, endpoint URL, which is going to be the name of your service / knowledge base, and then the unique identifier for your knowledge and generate answer. This is going to be your authorization key that you have to pass. And then you have to ask questions in this particular format. And then if the answer is there, then it will get back response from the JSON there. That means I don't have to necessarily create a bot from using this Q&A Maker service. If I already have an existing web app or a .NET app or a Node.js app, I can make the calls to this service using the REST APIs. Now let's go ahead and click on create a bot. So when you click on create a bot, it will launch a new tab with where it will take us to the Azure portal, and we can start configuring our bot here. So the first thing is we have to provide the bot handle. Again, it's up to you. You can change it, but by default, it will start have some predefined stuff that is coming from Q&A Maker service. Then select appropriate subscription resource group, the location, and the pricing. And here I will be going with F0. And again, whenever you see a F0, that means you can use that once per subscription. If you have already used that, then you cannot use that. Then let's go ahead with the site name. So here it's saying we cannot use the alphanumeric characters. Let's call bot. All right. And if you notice this is a really interesting thing, right? Because we are creating a bot. However, Azure portal is asking us, Okay, this is going to be the URL of your bot. So what does this tell you is a bot at the end of the day is nothing but a website with a different kind of user interface. So this is going to be the URL of your bot, which is the app names .azurewebsite.net. And as I mentioned, if you are going with Azure Bot Service to host your bot, the only two supported languages are C# or Node.js. And let's go ahead with C# this time. And then the application inside is EastUS, then click create. And if everything is right, this portal will create the bot for us, which is already integrated with Q&A Maker service in the span of 1 to 2 minutes. So while this bot is getting created, let me know if you have any questions or any comments so far. Okay, looks like Jeff has another question. Go ahead, Jeff.
So when it's building the model based upon the inputs, do you actually have access to the model that's generated?
No. So since it's part of the community services, so these services are pre-trained services. That means you as a user don't have access to the models. Like those are Microsoft proprietary models. But let's say if you would like to use your own model to build similar service, then Azure Machine Learning is a service that you should be exploring, where there is a web portal you can go where you can start creating model, you can train it, and once your model is ready, then you can deploy as a web service. So the consumption of that web service will be similar to how you can consume the Q&A Maker service via REST endpoints.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let me see. Looks like our bot is ready. So let's go to our bot. So right now we are at Azure portal and this is the information that we have for our bot. Now let me quickly go to the left-hand navigation and click on test in web chat. So I can start testing this bot right in the Azure portal itself just to make sure whether bot is working fine or not. So let's ask some basic preliminary questions regarding chit chat. The persona we selected was Witty. So let's say, hello, what is your name? And this information is coming up because we have selected the persona as Witty. And if you go back to the knowledge base here, then you will see because we selected that Microsoft has added a lot of predefined questions, pre-built questions and answers. Especially if you go towards your knowledge base, you can see here if anyone asks any of these particular things, we can there is an answer and you can also change that answer. All right, now the next thing is channels. So if I go and click on channels here, so whenever you deploy your bot for the first time, your bot is always available on web chat. However, you can add some additional channels. So the feature channels are Microsoft Teams. And if you scroll down, so these are the various channels where I can configure this bot so that this bot, the same bot will be available not only in Outlook, but Facebook, email, Line, Telegram, telephony, Slack, Kik, direct line speech, Skype, Twilio, GroupMe, and Alexa. So let me quickly click on Microsoft Teams. And only thing that I had to configure while deploying this, while making this bot available in Microsoft Teams is what kind of tenant that Microsoft Team is going to be hosted, whether it's going to be commercial or government. I'll be going with commercial this time. Click save and terms of service, agree. And within 30 seconds, your bot will be ready. So you can access that in Microsoft Teams as well. So for example, the bot is running. If I right click on this one, copy link address and go to my Teams UI and launch this, then I should be able to interact with this bot using Microsoft Teams as well. As you can see here, we have the name and let's click on hello. And if everything is working behind the scene, then we should be able to interact with this bot using Microsoft Teams as well. Perfect. The bot just responded. Let's ask, can you tell me about COVID-19? All right, so the information came back from the CDC, our Q&A Maker service. That means this bot is working as expected. Now, so far, if I go to the settings bot profile, I can change the icon of the bot. I can change the name and display description. But so far, we didn't write a single line of code to create this bot, right? But what if I would like to make some changes in it? So what you have to do is click on the overview tag here and just click on download the source code. So what this will do is the Azure portal will generate the zip file with all the source code for this particular bot. And depending on the language you have selected, whether it's C# or Node.js, then you will have either C# project or Node.js project. And then you have to use appropriate IDE to start implementing changes in the bot. So once this zip file is created, I will download it and then just unzip it, and I will show you around the code here. Okay, download the bot source code. Let me go here and okay, let me move that to a different location, and then I will show you that on the screen. Okay, so this is the source code I downloaded. Let me unzip this. And once everything is unzipped, then let's open this using the Visual Studio. Since I went with C#, I'll be using Visual Studio, but if you go with Node.js, you can use your preferred IDE as well. Okay, let me expand this and open few files. And let me just quickly build this and see if it's compiles or not. All right, so the bot is ready, and I can now make changes in the bots. I can test this bot locally on my machine using bot framework emulator. So again, I'm going back to the slide. I made few comments here when it comes to creating the bots. So how we can do it. So I went with the first option where I I configured my bot in the Azure Bot Service first, downloaded the source code, and then once the source code is on my machine, I can start implementing the changes. And you can use this option only if you are using Azure Bot Service. If you don't want to use Azure Bot Service, you can, or even if you want to, you can always go with this option where you start locally on your machine and start implementing the customization. Now let me see. Okay, now here we saw this. Now next thing I want to show you is regarding the Q&A maker service. So if I go to the settings of this, right, so I can change the name of this knowledge base. I can also add some URLs and I can also add some additional files. So by default, since we selected VT as a persona, so it has use this particular file, but I can add my own file as well. I can export this knowledge base in the form of Q&As as a replica as well. And I can also import this knowledge base, share with someone else so that, you know, other people can also start modifying this. And these are the information I can use to consume this ORS endpoints. So one of the advantage by going with a service like Q&A Maker is you can really have a good balanced team where let's say you are using this Q&A Maker for your HR FAQs or your finance FAQs. Then you just need to give your HR or finance people access to this portal. They come here, they start, they modify a few things here depending on the update policies. And your that way the management of the FAQs is very easy, and you as a developer, then you don't have to expose any code to them. Like they just have to go to this portal, make the changes, and once they click go here and publish the changes, these changes will be available in your bot, and then you can start testing it. So here I would like to pause and see if any questions or comments so far. If not, then the second option is you can always go use your favorite IDE like Visual Studio or let me, and here I can just create a new project. And let's call it as bot, search for it. Okay. So to create the bot project, you need to add some templates. It looks like I haven't added those templates yet. Let me see. Let's see. Bot. Nope. And I won't, like, it may take some time for me to add the templates, but once you add a template, you should be able to start creating the bots locally on your machine. And again, you have multiple options. You can either go with C#, Node.js, Java, and Python. Only thing you have to keep in mind is If you go with Java or Python, you cannot use Azure Bot Service to host your bots. All right. The next thing is what are some of the things we can do with bots in the enterprise space? So we can create bots for in-house help desk. Like I have seen a lot of our customers using that for in-house help desk, room booking system, meeting booking system, intelligent search, a recommendation engine. You can create training needs, resourcing need, all these kind of different scenarios you can come up with when it comes to combination of bots and cognitive services. So if you are interested in creating bots and you are debating which tool shall I use between Power Virtual Agents and Microsoft Bot Framework, these are my personal thoughts. So Power Virtual Agent is very easy to use and it's very easy to test the bots. It's built, and if you go with Microsoft Bot Framework, there's a steep learning curve because you need to be familiar with how the Bot Framework SDK works, and you also need to be familiar with how to go ahead with the development and deployment as well. So when it comes to maintenance and enhancements, Power Virtual Agents are very easy to use. You don't have to worry about any of the AI services to add to your bot. Whereas if you go with Microsoft Bot Framework, you have to make additional efforts to integrate your bot with something like Lewis or Q&A Maker service or other cognitive services. Since we went through the Q&A Maker portal, when we created the bot, it automatically added the reference to the Q&A Maker service. But if you go manually, if you create template on your machine first, a blank template, then you have to do all the jazz and make sure you add all the configuration. When it comes to this analytics support, there's the inbuilt analytics support available for Power Virtual Agent. Whereas if you go with Microsoft Bot Framework, there is no inbuilt support available. You have to use something like App Insights or any other similar service. However, Power Virtual Agents are a little bit expensive to begin with. Since they are available to us as a software as a service, it comes with a licensing cost. If you go with Microsoft Bot Framework, it's really cheap to begin with. However, you have to integrate a lot of different things before you have a working bot. Now, if you are interested in getting your hands dirty with Power Virtual Agent, this is a really good program available from Microsoft called Microsoft 365 Developer Program, where you just have to go to this link, sign up for the program, and through that program, you get your personal Microsoft 365 subscription for free. That subscription comes with E5 licenses for 25 users. You will be a global admin. And with that tenant, you get Exchange, SharePoint Online, Microsoft Teams, Power Automate, Power Apps, and also you can sign up for Power Virtual Agents as well. And you can start playing with it. And the tenant is valid for 90 days. And if after 90 days, if Microsoft finds out that you're using this tenant for personal training and development, and if the program is still active, they will automatically increase your trial period for additional 90 days. And they will keep on doing it as long as this program is active and you're not violating any terms and services. Another way you can do is you can sign up for trial. However, for trial, you always have to use your credit card. Now, to use Azure Bot Service or cognitive services, you need to have access to Azure. How you can get a personal Azure subscription? There are multiple ways. The recommended one is if you have MSDN subscription, just go to your MSDN portal and activate that. And depending on what type of subscription you have, you may get $150 credit or $100 credit. You can always sign up for a free trial. However, when you sign up for free trial, you have to use the credit card. There's another program available called Azure for Students where you don't need a credit card. All you need is a valid educational account. And if your school is participating in this program, just go to this link and see if you can get some free Azure credits. And again, the number of credits you get varies depending on the country you are in. Right now in the United States, we are getting $100. So hopefully the contents we covered today made you explore about bots and cognitive services and you go over and play with it. And if you don't have the access for your personal developer tenant, definitely go to this particular link and spin up that. And these are the references we use. And these are my contact details. If you have any further questions, feel free to email me or connect me on LinkedIn. I'm also available on Twitter as well. With that, thank you very much for coming. Stay safe and stay healthy. And let me know if you have any questions.